All right, on tonight's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our generative AI course. Let's have a look at what we went over tonight. Now, tonight we went over the process of creating a multiple chain using a sequence for which we can use a simple sequential chain. Let's go over the steps of that now. So now let's try to use the simple sequential chain to better understand what it is. First, we created a prompt. You can see our prompt template name equals prompt template. We have our input variables, startup name. We have our template. I want to start a startup for startup name. Suggest a good name for this. Then we have our name chain equals LLM chain, LM client, prompt equals prompt template name. Then we have our prompt template items, prompt template, input variables is name. Then we have template equals suggest some strategies for a name. Now what we're doing is we're starting a startup here and we want to get a name for our startup, and then we want to have a pass that name down here to some suggestions for the name, and then we want to suggest a good name for this. So everything is chained together. We want to chain this to this and run it. So let's try to understand this piece of code step by step. So first we have our prompt here, the first prompt that we walked through. In this section, we are saying that we want to start a startup and we want a suggestion for a good name. In the next step, we created a chain using a model, which is our client, and our prompt template name. Name chain equals LM chain. And this is the first section of the chain from our multiple chains. So all of that is the first chain. It's the first section of the chain. Then we have the beginning of the second section of the multiple chain with the start of our second prompt. That's going to be the input variables for name, and the template suggests some strategies for the name. In this prompt, we want a suggestion for some strategies for selecting a good name. Now we will combine these two sections of chain into one multi-chain using a sequential chain, a simple sequential chain. We're doing a simple here, so let me actually fix that, because a simple sequential chain is different than the regular sequential chain. We went over the regular sequential chain after this one, and it's a lot more powerful. So that's why I'm making sure we have specified here as simple. So this is our name chain equals LLM chain, chain 1. Then we have the strategies chain equals LLM chain for chain 2. Now we will import a simple sequential chain from langchain.chains, import simple sequential chain. After we run it, we will create an object of it. And this is our object we created. Let me show you that really quickly. So chain equals simple sequential chain. Now inside this method, we will pass a parameter. This is what our method will look like after we pass our parameter. We have chain equals simple sequential chain, chains equal name, underscore chain, strategies, underscore chain. So automatically we'll call to the startup name, see line 3435, and generate a startup name. Then it will give that name to the template we created, see line 450. So let me show you back up here, 435. So this is what we're going to get the name here, startup name, and we're going to chain that to 450 here and pass that to this name here at 450 in this prompt. So that's how we chain those two together. We're actually going to chain the 435 line. We're going to chain this prompt to this prompt here. So we're going to actually generate the name here and pass that name here. So that's what we did, the training the simple sequential chain, and we chain those two prompts together. Let me show you in the notebook what it actually looks like when we put it together. So you can see here, this is our first prompt here. This is our second prompt. This is where we chained our startup name, two suggestions for some strategies for the startup name. And then we have our strategies chain. And then from langchain.chains, import sequential chain. And then we have our object we created, chain equals simple sequential chain, chains equals name, underscore chain, strategies, underscore chain. Now still we can't run anything because we're still using open API from the website. You know what that issue is all about. So yeah, so I'm just getting everything queued up. And we actually started going over the regular sequential chain, which is a lot more powerful than the simple sequential chain, but we'll go over this section tomorrow. Tonight we just focused on the simple sequential portion of it, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with the regular sequential, so we can see what the differences are and how much more powerful it is and what else we can do with that. But of course I will keep you posted every step of the way. But for now, this is Python Papi. You guys stay Gucci.